What's going on, Diablo 2 fans? This is Dobrunsky, and today I'm going to cover everything that you need to know about farming Travincal in Diablo 2. I'm going to cover rune drop odds, the Merc Bug, map rerolling, what an ideal map looks like. We'll also touch on the magic line and how that affects the map spawning. And then we'll wrap everything up with the rune drop odds and the best characters for farming Travincal in Diablo 2. But before we get into the video, I just wanted to give a big shout out to Discord members FLP, Thelch, Zodiac, and UbeoGesh. You guys all played a role in this video. They all gave me footage of different characters farming Travincal efficiently, characters that I didn't have at the time. So thank you guys for providing me with those clips. You guys played a big part in this video. That being said, that's enough talking. Let's cover everything that you need to know about farming Travincal in Diablo 2. Let's start off by covering a few of the basics. When I refer to Travincal, I'm specifically referencing the council members that are surrounding the Durians of Hate. The idea behind farming Travincal is to kill these council members as efficiently as possible. The council consists of 11 minions in total, with 3 of them being bosses. The 3 bosses are Galeb Flamefinger, Ismal Vile Hand, and Torque Ice Fist. Now you might be wondering, why would you bother farming an area like Travincal if you've already grinded Lower Kuros and you've made expensive rune words like Infinity? Now honestly, there's a lot of reasons why. 1. Travincal is the #1 source of gold in the game, so if you like gambling, this is the spot to farm for all of your gold needs. 2. It's one of the best sources in the game for farming facets and unique jewelry. And 3, it's a lot more enjoyable of an area to farm that has the possibility to drop high runes up to Jaw and Cham, while other areas that are boring like Lower Kuros super chests are capped at Burr. So I mentioned that Travincal is an excellent place to farm for high runes, so let's dive into a little bit more detail about the ideal player's difficulty setting and the rune drop odds. So the ideal player's difficulty setting for farming Travincal is generally considered to be players 3 for most characters. The no drop rate slightly improves on council minions on players 7 versus players 3, but they have much higher hit points and take a lot longer to kill. So basically, the benefit of a slightly reduced no drop rate in relation to the extra time that it takes to clear higher difficulty isn't really worth it for most characters. Some specific builds like the Trav Zealer can run higher player difficulty settings and still maintain efficient clear speed, but overall players 3 is the best. If you don't have a strong enough character to clear players 3 Trav quickly, then you should probably focus on other high rune farming areas like Lower Kuros. Now let's take a look at the rune drop odds. Now a big thanks goes out to FLP for crunching the numbers for me on this one. It was a huge help. So to be clear about these stats, they are based on the odds per run, and I have Lower Kuros player 7 odds for comparison purposes. The LK odds are based on popping 6 super chests every run, versus the Travincal odds that are based on killing 11 minions per run. Now these odds do look pretty bad, but Travincal is statistically the #2 location to farm for high runes in the game, just behind Lower Kuros. But it also has the added benefit of dropping unique jewelry and facets and mountains of gold along the way. But remember, RNG can be crazy sometimes in Diablo 2. You could find 5 high runes in 100 Trav runs or none in 1,000 Trav runs. But the odds are very much statistically in your favor for farming a location like Travincal. I've actually made a 1000 Travincal run video on my YouTube channel, and the link is in the description of this video if you want to check out the results. Efficiency is key to making Travincal worth your time for farming, so I want to spend some time talking about map rolling because it plays a huge part in that. The first thing that I should cover is the magic line. There is an invisible line that essentially dictates the formation of the council members. For illustration purposes, I will show taking path 1 and path 2 on my Blizzard Sorceress. Now to be entirely honest, I've been told that even approaching Trav from other angles can lead to more map spawns, but I personally just stick to these 2 general paths. Experiment on your own and let me know if you can add more info to the Travincal map spawns. So here is path 1 on my Blizzard Sorceress. The council will always form within the building in a moderately clumped formation. Not the ideal map, but it's okay. While taking path 2, my Blizzsaurus has the entire council spawn in the dead end, with the exception of Torque Ice Fist, who spawns out on his own. So now that we understand how the magic line affects the formation, let's take a look at the ideal maps for both caster and melee characters, because it can vary depending on the character that you're farming Travincal with. Now this is an example of an ideal map spawn for a caster character farming Travincal. The entire council, including Torque, is spawned close together in the back of the dead end. They can't go anywhere, making it much easier to hit them with Blizzard or Poison Nova or Magic Hammers, depending on the character that you're farming with. Now, I have had some experienced Barbarian players tell me that they prefer the council to spawn inside because it makes it easier for them to see the loot after they use Find Item, but again, that's up to you. I personally think that this would actually be a nice map for the Barbarian. Now, the only issue is that a map like this is going to be extremely difficult to roll, so you can always settle for a map like what my Blizzard Sorceress has. The only character in general that might want a different map would be the Zealer Paladin. This character generally isn't using Enigma, so the option to reposition your mercenary with teleport isn't there, and the character often uses the Durance of Fate entranceway to reposition his mercenary instead, so you're probably going to want to go for a map spawn where they're all within the building, and they're in relative close proximity to the Durance of Fate entranceway. Again, this really just comes down to personal preference, your playstyle, and the character that you're using to farm Travincal with. The last major topic that I want to cover is the quote-unquote Hydra Merc Bug and how to overcome it. So what is the Hydra Merc Bug? Essentially, for whatever reason, your character, your Sorceress, your Barbarian, or your Necromancer, whoever you're playing as, only receives a fraction of the true Hydra damage because of a PvP penalty. You only receive 17% of the true Hydra damage, while the full fire damage is applied directly to your mercenary. Is this a player bug, a merc bug, exactly how Blizzard intended it? I'm not sure, but regardless, merc survivability is key for efficient Travincal running, so I'm going to cover a few of the common gear setups that you guys can use to help your merc tank the Council's Hydras. Now keep in mind that there is several different gear options other than the three that I'm going to talk about here. Option 1. The standard Rald Kira's Guardian, Ethereal Reaper's Toll, and Rald Guardian Angel combo. This gear combo gives your mercenary 90% fire resistance even under a Council Conviction aura. It also provides your mercenary with Cannot Be Frozen so he doesn't get slowed down and he can continue to leech life, as well as the Decrepify Curse, which significantly increases the melee damage of specific Trav characters like the Barbarian and the Zealer Paladin. Option 2. Using the same helmet and body armor combo but substituting Reaper's Toll with the Rune Word Infinity. This setup is essential for a Travincal Blizzard Sorceress. Torque Ice Fist is one of the few monsters that can consistently have his cold immunity broken with Infinity. This can significantly decrease your runtime and improve the efficiency of a Blizzard Sorceress because you don't have to wait for your mercenary to kill him or constantly skip him. Over the course of hundreds of runs, this makes a huge difference. Option 3. Implementing a different helmet like Steel Shade or Vamp Gaze. Steel Shade is one of the few sources of fire absorb in the game, and using a helmet like this can significantly reduce the Hydra damage on your mercenary. I'm also a personal fan of using Vamp Gaze. The physical damage reduction is nice, and the additional magic damage reduced is actually beneficial in terms of reducing Hydra damage specifically. It's also a source of life leech, whereas Steel Shade, Infinity, and Guardian Angel combo lacks that. Chains of Honor could be a supplement for life leech if you have the wealth. Again guys, there is numerous gear options, but these are just a few examples that can increase your merc survivability in Travincal. Now that we have a solid understanding of Travincal farming, let's wrap up by taking a look at the best Trav farming characters. I'll spend a little bit of time talking about the pros and cons of each one. First up, the Whirlwind Barbarian. Footage provided courtesy of UbeoGesh. The Whirlwind Barb is quote-unquote the king of Travincal farming. With the right gear like Enigma, Grief, and a Reaper's Toll mercenary, he can clear Trav very quickly and can use item find on every corpse for increased chances of high rune drops. The only drawback is that it's a relatively expensive character, but really all good Trav running characters are because they need to clear Trav quickly, and I also personally find the loot annoying to sift through, especially with item hork. Again, this is just my personal nitpicking at this point really, but still he's a great character and is arguably the #1 Travincal farming character in Diablo 2. Next up, my personal favorite, the Blizzard Sorceress. If the Whirlwind Barbarian is the #1 Trav character, then the Blizzard Sorceress has to be just behind as the second best. She makes up for the lack of item find with sheer clear speed. With the right map, she can clear Trav in sub 30 seconds no problem. It's also a lot easier to stack more magic find on a Blizzard Sorceress over other Trav farming characters, so you can increase your chances of dropping some nice unique jewelry and facets. The only real drawback to the Blizzard Sorceress, like other Trav characters, is that it's again an expensive character to run effectively. Infinity is pretty much mandatory on your Mercenary. One upside though is that you can still clear Trav quickly with a weapon like Hodo, and you don't have to have a rare unique like Death's Fathom, although more cold damage is always better. The Poison Necromancer is another great Trav farming character, footage provided courtesy of Thelch. The Poison Necro is very similar to the Blizz Sorceress in terms of clear speed. The Trav farming Necro does however vary a little bit from your typical Poison Necro, in that Poison Nova is really just a supplement form of damage and you rely primarily on your Merc to get the first kill before you blow up the Council with Corpse Explosion. It's really just faster to use the Merc, Corpse Explosion, and amplified damage on players 3 than it is to use lower resistance. It can be difficult to keep your Insight Iron Golem alive, so that is one of the downsides to this character. An Insight Merc would be a cheaper option, but then you lose out on Infinity, which increases the damage of Corpse Explosion, the Necromancer's bread and butter skill. Now again, to sound like a broken record, it is an expensive character that requires Enigma and Infinity to really shine. And finally, the Hammerton and Zealot Paladin builds. Footage courtesy of Zodiac. First up, the Hammerton. With fast clear speed, he's an effective Travincal farmer. His magic hammers can obliterate Trav even on the highest player's difficulty settings. However, it can be annoying to constantly reposition yourself to single target some of the moving council members. Again, this might just be me nitpicking at the Hammerton, and you die-hard HGen fans might not mind this aspect of gameplay. Downsides, like all the previously mentioned characters, he is very expensive to run, especially if you're running a 125 FCR Hammerton build. And last but not least, the Zealer Trav build. He is probably the only character that can effectively farm Trav without Enigma, because he can use Vigor to run through the Kuros docks quickly, and he can charge to get to the Council quickly on foot. He is also capable of clearing Trav on the highest player's difficulty setting with top tier gear. The only real downside to this character compared to the previously mentioned characters is that his clear speed isn't quite as quick as the others. He's still a very viable character for farming high runes if you don't want to go the route of a caster like a Hammerton or Blizzard Sorceress, etc. Well guys, there you have it. That's everything that you need to know about farming Travincal in Diablo 2. It was a lot of information that I had to try and compress into a sub, 13-minute video because I didn't want to make a half-an-hour video for you guys. But if you feel like I missed something or should have elaborated more on a specific aspect of Travincal farming, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. But if you guys did enjoy this video and possibly learn something new, could you throw a like on it and share it? I would appreciate it. That does help spread the video through YouTube. And even consider subscribing if you're new to my Diablo 2 YouTube channel. I post new weekly content and stream on a weekly basis, so there's always new stuff to look forward to from my channel. But yeah guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on my next Diablo 2 YouTube video or my next stream. Have a great day. Peace out.